Hi, guys. Hold on. I'm a little off tonight. Here's the intro. Good evening, local warriors. This is Dana Zulik, and welcome to Local Wars. I have a cute little song to kick off tonight, so let's just go ahead and do that. It's really cute.
Five little ducks went out one day, over the hill and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 and all of the five little ducks came back.
Aww, isn't that adorable? I know I could have found some other duck references, but I thought
Oh
that
my
one was
god, I'm
adorable.
dying.
Do you
That
love
is
it?
beautiful. I absolutely freaking adore it.
Aw. I feel like as we get older, we lose the magic of nursery rhymes and songs. Like, doesn't it make everybody feel good? So if you're just joining us, Courtney is with me tonight. Say hi, Courtney.
Hi, everyone.
So she was a little apprehensive about coming online today, but she did it anyway. So we're happy to have her. So we have some really good news. As if you've been following our channel here at Local Wars, you know that there's been ongoing litigation in court, all because some bully neighbors don't want me to run my business here in Richfield. And Richfield has been happy to do their bidding, and they're happy to do Richfield's bidding. So yesterday, there was a jury trial. And as I've gone over on other episodes, um, it's my opinion and my belief, and based on the facts, that they have found one ordinance they can apply to target me because the state of Wisconsin has deemed my site to be regulated only by the DNR. And so I have farm animals. We live in a very rural area. I have 40 acres. The neighbor has 7. And the animals, sometimes people drop animals off. So, I mean, I have poultry that shows up at my property all the time. And I'm like, where did those guys come from?
But the court case yesterday was because of animals at large, specifically ducks or geese and or both. Nobody knows how to classify, recognize, determine what is what, but that
Right,
was fine. We'll get into that.
right, right. Yeah, it was very confusing the whole time. It was like duck, duck, goose, 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 duck, goose, duck, goose, duck. It was like really confusing. Finally, the judge at some point was like, "Can we just say poultry or fowl?" Nobody knew what they were looking at. So let's back up a little bit. So this particular case, I asked for a jury trial. And there's so many of them that it's really hard because a lot of times I'm like, I don't even know what this ticket's for. I get tickets in the mail and I'm not quite sure exactly what happened or what the circumstances are. So then I got to go to the police department or the sheriff's department and get a police report. And so I'm reading this one and I'm like, this one's a little strange. I don't remember ever talking to a deputy about these ducks slash geese. And it was just really strange. So I asked for a jury trial. And it was an interesting day. I don't even know where to start. Where should I start? Should we just get into the day itself?
Let's just start with you had to take your kids to school, and instead of us meeting at the pit as planned, I gathered the things and then you got Starbucks for us because it was going to be a long
Oh,
day.
that's right, I did.
And then we met at the courthouse. and we
Yes.
had Pepper. We didn't take her in right away because you were good with me there as your support. And
Right.
then,
So let me explain
so
to everybody who Pepper is.
yes,
So Pepper is my service dog. She flies with me. She stays in hotels with me. She goes to restaurants with me. And she wasn't really ready to come in, or I didn't really need her in the morning, but I brought her with because I knew that, it's an anxiety provoking situation. Court is very triggering. There's people there that aren't, you know, we're not writing Christmas cards to each other. We're not besties, right? So I wanted her there to kind of just keep me level headed and calm. So we get there, we have our Starbucks, um, we go inside, and as I'm coming through the
pause,
security, what?
pause. As we're coming through security, we noticed this other lady's awesome fucking shoe slash boots. They're hey dudes or dudes, whatever you call them. Awesome shoes. Go from there, Dana.
I wonder, can people? Oh, you know what? People can't hear you. Crap, that was my fault.
I took it off mute.
No, that's okay. I think I might have done it. Wait.
Talk about the entrance with the shoes. Go from there.
Oh, okay. The entrance with the shoes. Okay. So for those of you that might not have heard Courtney that whole time, that was awkward. But she's back. So here we are. Okay. So uh there was a woman in front of us in the security line, and she had these like hey dude boots on, and they look so comfy. So me and my very quiet introverted self, sarcasm inserted. Um I basically asked her if she'd be my best friend so we could share each other's shoes. That's not that's not weird. That's not a weird thing to do at all. But that's what I did. And we just kind of had a funny laugh about it. And then we go upstairs, and I see Paul Craig, the former mayor of Delafield. If you haven't seen that episode, you can go look at it. He's a real fun guy, that one. Yeah, very large man. And he spent the entire day acting like he was some sort of like bodyguard. Is that a good description? Bodyguard, energy sucker, uh,
Bouncer.
bouncer. That's a good one too. Like he was like, gonna be there and intimidate us.
He literally sat behind me all day long.
Yeah, like on my side. Weird. So it just keeps proving what I've been saying the whole time. These people are obsessed with what I'm doing, which is kind of strange. I mean, yikes. So we get into the courtroom, and at least 4 members of RAD were there. So for those of you that don't know, RAD is an acronym for a group that was formed in Richfield called Richfield Residents Against Dump. But here's the thing, it sounds like such a good group, but they only care about my dump, right? They don't care about the dump across the street. They don't care about the dump by the grocery store by Piggly Wiggly. They don't care about those places. They only care about the one here at the Scenic Pit. Um, it's interesting. It's just strange. So anyways, those 4 people were there, and one of them, my neighbor, who I've been involved in litigation with over the boundary dispute, he was the witness for the day. So the judge is just getting started into some of her opening comments. There was all of these motions and lemonade. It's actually motions and lemonade, but I love listening to Emily D. Baker. She's a YouTuber, and we call it LawTube, and she's a law nerd, and she always calls it motion and lemonade, so it's a good way to remember it. But there must have been, Courtney, what, 30, 40 of those things? There was so many, and I'm not an attorney.
It was like A through O,
It
but
was a lot.
L had like like L1 through like 13. Don't quote me on the actual letters and numbers.
Well, Jeff
There
took
were
away my
so many.
paperwork, so
There
if
were
I had
so
my
many.
paperwork.
They just wanted to shut Dana up. They didn't want to Dana to use any of the previous court cases and things that she won against that this neighbor was involved in, because this neighbor, under oath, said that he was on the Richfield Residents Against Dump committee or whatever. I don't know what his position was, but they literally tried every and anything possible to stop Dana, this woman, this lady, from being able to operate her business.
Crazy pit lady, I prefer.
Yes, I don't know what he said, but anyways, under oath, he was like adamant about telling everybody how they have tried every and anything to try to
I
stop
know.
her from running her business. Like, seriously?
It was one of those moments in court, Courtney, that I had to actually have you ever had something happen and it's so unbelievable that your brain hasn't accepted that it happened? That's why I just froze. So it's like,
I
this
believe
dude is
no, I
literally
that was
but
the look on the jury and other people in that courtroom's faces when that was said.
it was like some shit you'd see on Law& and Order. Like, like when they get the guy to admit on the stand, on
It's like
cross-examination that
being
they did it, it was like that.
Judge Judge Judy in person. It was the most best, like, the facial expressions. Oh my gosh. The things that were said was just unbelievable.
Yeah, they
But
were unbelievable. So when he said that and I'm like my follow-up question was, "Well, what else have you tried if you've tried everything?" So strange. So anyway, yeah,
objection.
and I'm not an attorney and I've got all this paperwork and my buddy made a bunch of copies because he's him. And so I had all these copies of all the documents I needed and when we break for lunch, I know we're jumping all over the timeline, but that's okay. We're just chatting, chitty chat for right now.
We only
But
break every like hour.
yeah, and then when we went to lunch, Courtney looks at the documents and she's like, "Oh my god, there's like 8 copies of everything. Let's just 1 copy of each on the desk." Like, because I'm sitting here like trying to scramble like, "Oh my god, there's all and um I am a verbal processor and when it comes to paperwork, I don't think in stacks of paperwork. I have to like see each individual document kind of laid out. I can, the first page is fine, but I can't just have everything all in one big stack and yeah. I think the district attorney even made a comment that my desk was a mess.
That is why I laid them out in piles where you could see the tops of everything and they were
Yeah,
stacked up nicely. And we went through it because, yes, the desk was a mess, but that was not the problem. He was finding any and everything to discredit you because he was so shaken by how bad his witness's testimony was going. Like
right,
every question he asked him, he thought it was going to go one way. And the victim was like, oh no, these ducks slash geese, if I chase them to the south, they go to the south. If I chase them to the east, they go to the east. Normally, I just chase them to the north. So then they go to Dana Zulik's property.
right.
Well, do you know if they're Dana's ducks? Well, no. I just assume.
Yeah, I don't think they were anticipating that. So the the prosecutor has the burden of proof. The county had the burden of proof.
It's not the burden of proof. It's clear, concise something. Because burden of proof is not the verbal terms in this case, remember? It
Oh, but
was
for layman's purposes, most people would understand that.
right,
But
but
yeah,
because this was a civil
so they
case, it wasn't burden.
right. Well, they had to prove 3 elements, and I believe the first element was that the ducks were mine. Number 2, that the ducks left the property, and number 3, they did not have permission to be on someone else's property. So I just started with the first one, and nobody could answer how they know that these ducks were mine,
The
right?
sheriff's department, 100%. Well, I
Mm.
just guessed.
Can Can you bel I know. I just took a guess. I mean, usually they're yours, Dana. And I'm like, "So every animal that ends up on Doug Petrozzati's property is mine?" It's
He
bizarre.
also well, the thing that just gets me the most is he's like, "I'm a hunter and I love all these animals and I have all these game cameras. Also, I'm baiting these animals. I love all them. That's why I have the cameras. I have clover for the deer, especially for the deer.
"Because I'm a hunter," he says.
But I and but these ducks, we just don't want herd ducks, geese, whatever they might be, the fowl, we decided. Well, they didn't decide. The judge decided. We decided to call them foul because, well, not we, Dana and the judge decided to call them foul because the district attorney and the witness were testifying that they were ducks and then they were geese and then they were ducks and they were geese. It's fucking hilarious.
I
But
mean, my
anyways,
eyes met with one of the jurors at one point, and we were trying so hard not to have a moment, because it was funny. It was comical. I mean, yesterday, I think you said it perfectly, Courtney. You're like, it was a complete, mockery of the justice system. Like, it
I
was
have never been in a jury trial in my life, nor have I ever thought I wanted to be, but that was the most entertaining but yet educational experience of my life. I am a super nerd. I do enjoy education. I
I think
am
that's why
like
we're such good friends. Nerdy friends unite.
100%.
But yeah, it was it in oh, I just thank you, Courtney, so much for being there too, because it was really, really nice to have somebody that I could actually, connect with and talk to. And um oh, this is a nice comment. Quack it real good. Doom ba-dum boom boom. Um oh, there's so many duck jokes. I think tonight I said
Dude,
get the duck
uh,
out of here. This is so duck and weird.
wait. It's not just your duck jokes. How about everybody else in the courthouse, the police officers that checked us in and out every time we had a break, and other people in that area that would crack jokes about the fact that we were at a jury trial hearing, whatever
Right,
you call it,
right.
because of a fucking duck in Wisconsin. Hello, migration patterns of ducks and geese. He doesn't care about the fucking turkeys or the deer. He thinks the ducks are the reason why his corn wasn't growing. Hello, you are baiting deer with clover and corn. Deer eat clover and corn. And you're going to sit there under oath and tell this jury that you think the ducks are the problem.
Yeah.
The geese, the ducks, the geese.
I like
But
this comment.
when when the
Hold on
DA
one second,
asked,
Courtney.
oh,
It says right here, a comment from one of our viewers. He actually called the sheriff because of ducks and geese. Wow. Can I call them about all the squirrels?
don't
Only
forget
if
the
they're a pet
chipmunks.
squirrel.
No, do not forget the chipmunks because they are just as loud and annoying.
Well, yeah, but don't people have squirrels as pets? Wasn't there something with that recently?
Dude, I feed my squirrels walnuts and I live in a
Courtney, don't
subdivision.
incriminate yourself on this live feed.
I'm not
No, I'm
incriminating
kidding.
myself
I know, I'm kidding.
because I have amazing neighbors that would never be so freaking disgusting.
Oh yeah, that squirrel's name was Peanut. Oh, that's right. I recalled that. Mm. So, I didn't mean to interrupt you before. I just wanted to make sure our viewers were getting heard.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Literally made a squirrel. Squirrel. Okay. Um, but yeah, it was an interesting experience. I find it like when I go into these, I kind of see it like, I don't go in thinking I'm gonna win. Like I hope I can win, right? but I've had such a long history of just not being heard, when you stand up to your local government and what they're doing is wrong and when they're colluding to try to run you out of town and you're trying to tell everybody, "Look, they're doing these things on purpose because they just simply don't like me. They're not
Dana,
doing it." What?
he stood on oath and said, "We're doing all these things because we don't like her and we don't want her here. We're trying to make it to where she cannot run a business. We
Right.
don't want her." They under oath.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I can hear how shocked you are in your voice, and I was shocked that he actually said it in the courtroom so blatantly, but, like, I already know this, right? Because 'Cause I've lived it for 10 years. They've made it very clear, and it's just really frustrating. So I go into these hoping for the best, expecting the worst, and this time I'm just like, I'm reading the police report and I don't see any interaction with me whatsoever. The sheriff's deputy, Deputy Bouts, never called me. He never stopped by the property to even let me know that he thought my animals were loose. The neighbor never contacted me or asked the sheriff to tell me. Nobody was interested in asking me. And when I asked why, the answer the sheriff's deputy gave me, Deputy Bouts, was really interesting. He said, "Well, I just figured since they're usually yours that they were." And here's the worst part, guys. This is the most enraging part. This I ended my cross-examination after he said the following statement. He said, "Dana, I just didn't have the energy to deal with you that day." Yeah.
No further questions.
And I said, "Absolutely no further questions." It was a display of the most disgusting, close-minded groupthink I've ever witnessed. And And with confidence and vigor, like, as if the jury was part of this groupthink process, right? So those of you, I'm sure most of you know about groupthink, but groupthink is a psychological phenomenon that we as human beings experience. We're all victim to it. We all can um, fall for it. It's just basically when your peers and group of people have a certain idea about something and someone, a lot of times it doesn't matter. You can throw fact after fact after fact after fact, and there's just this weird thing in the human brain that doesn't want to accept the truth because the
Dana,
group has already made a what?
we just experienced all of that over the last month, this last year. I mean, the whole political uh, candidacy for president. It's the same thing. It's groupthink. You've
Right.
got Democrats, you got Republicans, you got
Yep.
people. It's groupthink. It's the same thing.
And they're married to an idea instead of trying to see what we all have in common, right? Like I spent most of my day on social media. Well, actually, I didn't spend most of my day on social media, but when I was on social media, um, I feel like that's what I kept saying over and over is, "Hey guys, what's up with all the divisiveness?" Right? Like, it should be okay always to, um, agree to disagree. We should all be able to have separate opinions and not all of a sudden be lumped into all of these other ideas. If I have to hear one more time that Trump is somebody like Hitler, that's extreme thinking, people. I'm not opposed to thinking that, like, a dictator could sneak their way into our society and have their way with it's not that I'm opposed to that idea, I just don't see any evidence of it. And then they're like, "Well, his own words," and I'm like, "Well, I don't know." But see, I'm not, like, the hugest Trump fan in the world either, right? I voted for Trump, but it's not because I have all of these, um, groups of people that I hate. I just hate the fact that my grocery bill's triple what it used to be. Let's keep this very simple, right? And it's just so interesting. I just wish that in our society in general, we can all try to see each other's perspective. And if we can all start with where we do agree, right, then maybe we can get to a point where we can make true change. But that's only
Teamwork.
going to happen if we stop corruption. And that's what this jury trial, in my opinion, was all about. It was exposing corruption. It was
And
exposing the fact that, come on, people. Is this really about ducks? Are we really here because of ducks? Now, I
It
wasn't
what
allowed hold on, I'm
you
gonna go on a little rant.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to bring up the fact that each of these tickets are $515, okay, because apparently you can't try to prejudice the jury with emotions. That's what I took away from it. Um, like, "Oh my god, she'd have to pay $515 for a duck?" You know? I mean, so they don't want want 'em to base my guilt or not guilt based on just the cost. Hold on one second. "Hey, guys." Boys. A friend of ours stopped over, and he's, like, the loudest friend ever. Uh, oh, you should be able to charge them for not coming and asking me. Yeah. Well, I think the difference here is that I just don't care as much as I mean, wouldn't that be nice?
Well, at the very end, after the DA lost to you, a not attorney, amazing person, presented yourself so well that you beat the DA. But anyway, uh, why are you wasting your time with this Dana? You shouldn't spend so much time on this Dana. What did
Yep.
you say?
He approached me after the verdict, and the assistant district attorney says, "Why are you spending all this energy on this issue?" He's like, "Can't you find something else?" And I said, "Sir, you're mistaken. I actually don't spend that much energy. Recently, I have, because now I've been able to kind of find a place in my life thanks to people like Courtney and my family and friends that
No,
support me."
you said, I'm
No, I
not
know, I'm
the
getting there.
ones.
I'm getting
I
there.
know. But you didn't tell him all that. You have to say what you told him first, and then you can get to the background. Step
Is
one.
so my brain is going to process the way my brain does. But okay. So I said, "No, uh, I don't spend that much energy. They're the ones spending all this energy." Like, it's like victim blaming, right? So, like, I understand that the witness, Doug Petrozates, was called a victim in this case yesterday. But, like,
He lost.
truly, well, he did lose, but truly, who's been the victim this entire time?
The person that won.
Right. And so, it just was really insulting, and it was, like, really, um, disrespectful, quite frankly, especially after the case that I just put on. Like, you're gonna try to minimize my experience by telling me that I spend too much energy on this.
Right,
It's
Dana.
not the
That's
first person to say that. I hear this all the time.
and
Sometimes people don't wanna hear about the pit?
Dana, I was getting at. He told you not to spend so much time on this, and you said, I don't. They are. I'm only here because of the time that they spend trying to ruin me. And that's when our new friend that was up at the top looked over and had a smile smirk on her face because she agreed. Well, I can't say that she agreed. I'm just saying that he told you not to spend so much time, and you said, I don't spend so much time. I'm only here because they're spending so much time and I have to be here. And it
Right.
was it was very comical. I was just trying to get to that point.
Well, one thing I think that you can take away from it that I find really interesting is that this is how local government or government officials in general, because that's what a district attorney is. They're a government official. And that's what they want we as the American people to do. They want us to just fall in line and take whatever punishment it is they're giving. "Well, why do you spend so much time?" Well, because what's happening is wrong. And if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. And that's the problem, right? So it's going to take a whole lot of people to stand up when things are going wrong to make these changes. And so I didn't ask for this. The neighbors put me in this position, and I just answered the call. That's all, right? I didn't search for this. I wouldn't have this channel right now if it weren't for local corruption. including the harassment that my neighbors have been engaging in for 10 years now. Um, so anyways, yeah. So we had court, we had like, the jury thing going on. Oh, here's the funny part. So after we asked the jury questions, um, well, first the district attorney asks, "Has anybody here had any experience with farm animals?" This little old lady, you know, she's like, "I grew up on a farm and I had chickens." And he said, "Does anybody here have any experience with gardening?" And again, the same lady. She's like, "Well, I've kept a garden for years." "Well, how did you keep the chickens out of the garden?" he asks. She says, "Well, I put a fence around the garden." So one of the questions I asked the neighbor is, "Do your gardens have fences around them?" Because that wasn't the answer the guy wanted. He wanted to hear that she keeps them penned up in a coop, but as most people with that come from farmer families know, you if you have a big piece of property, the chickens kinda just run around, right?
And you
Ru
fence in the garden, period.
Yeah, and you fence in your garden. Not the neighbor. No, he likes to bait the animals to come visit him, but, the animals are supposed to know which species is allowed there. But anyways, so they were never able to prove that they were my ducks, and I they never met that burden, and I didn't have to present my case. I just went, straight to closing argument and explained, oh, we're missing a whole bunch of pieces here. Let me go back. So when we're going through the jury voir dire, um, I asked or I had to admit to the judge that I had asked, um, the juror sitting in seat number 2 happened to be the woman that I asked to be my bestie because I wanted to share shoes with her. So I had to admit to the judge that I complimented her shoes. And, the judge was like, "Well, I think the next thing is we just need to see the shoes." So there was kind of a lighthearted moment in court where we all laughed. But, yeah, so then the jury trial starts, and, it wasn't a problem, by the way, she was allowed to stay on. And we do the open argument or the opening arguments, and, uh, I was nervous. I lose my train of thought sometimes, but for the most, I don't take up notes or do anything like that. I just talk to the jury like I would be talking to you all, like one of my friends. And, I just explained to them that I was gonna show them that even though the prosecutor wanted to make it a very simple issue about whether or not the ducks were loose, that this is a bigger issue than that, right? And I had won some motions before the trial started that allowed me to bring in the fact that my neighbor is involved in this group called Richfield Residents Against Dump. And so, we got to ask him a series of questions to lay the foundation. And I'm not an attorney, guys. I'm just, I'm a law nerd, but I know enough to kind of, wiggle around. So, we're asking him about his affiliation with this group, and he admits the group was formed to stop the scenic pit, that he was heavily involved in their meetings and coordinating things. He admitted that um, he doesn't like the fact that we won. But the most interesting part to me was that moment that we talked about in the opening of the show that Courtney mentioned. He literally on the stand just gets very angry. His face is like red and boiling up and, like just fuming. And he finally just had it. And he's like, "Yeah, I was a part of that group. And we were willing to do anything and everything to make sure that you weren't going to put a dump in our community." So I just asked, "Well, what else were you willing to do? What else have you tried?" I mean, whoa, wow.
On a side note, those were not the exact words, but it is close enough.
Well, I don't have a video or a transcript in front of me, but it was something like that.
That's
Very
just the
close.
that's just me being a nerd and saying, "Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. Is this a duck or a goose?"
Yeah, and then you've got Paul Craig, and then you've got the registered member of RAD sitting there, and then you've got Doug Petrozzades and his wife, you know? So I was able to also bring up the fact that, the judge limited me to 3 things. She limited me to being able to talk about the fact that there was a boundary dispute, that it went to litigation, and that I was awarded damages and won that case, and that Doug Petrozzades was the party,
Like
and that
that.
he damaged my property, you know, and he's still real angry about that clearly, because when I asked him questions about that on the stand, he was, like, real mad. "It is not your property." So the ju on when we went on break, the judge is like, "Well, Ms. Zulik, I see what you're saying. Yes, it is a fact that it's your property because it's been litigated." He's saying he believes that that's wrong, and he's standing by the fact he still thinks it's his.
It wasn't the judge, it was the DA, because the judge didn't stand by that. The DA, like, gave the story that just because in his own mental ability to process the thought about the fact that he went to litigation with you about the property dispute, in his own mind, the whole reason that happened was because he believed it was his property. Even though the judge ruled in the favor of it being your property, he is still allowed his mental capacity of believing that it's still his property, even though the judge ruled. Now, that is a stretch, if I would say so, but they basically said that his mental capacity is limited because he cannot grasp the concept of what the judge ruled. That's my end of that tangent.
Oh, that's how you understood it? See, yeah. Okay. I didn't take it so, I took it a bit kinder than that, but yeah, I'll take that one too, because, that's fine. I mean, clearly he struggles with understanding the concepts of all of these moving parts. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, like, people who engage in this kind of behavior, like, were they always like this? Like, are they the bullies in high school? I don't know. Like, I feel like we're grown up, we're, like, adults now, you know, we're not at the beginning parts of our lives. I feel like we should have moved on so much by now. Like, instead, we're just gonna, like, bully people without understanding that what we're doing is actually criminal. And yeah, what he did was criminal. And it's my right to believe that, whether or not he was charged with a crime. Um, the sheriff's department did have the ability to actually prosecute him or bring charges and give it to the district attorneys, but they refused to. And even when I won in civil court and was able to civilly prove damages, they still weren't willing to press any charges. They're more worried about like chickens, guys, because
Ducks
chickens,
and or geese.
ducks and geese, yeah. I mean, it's enraging. And just a reminder for anybody locally that's listening to this, these are your tax dollars. We spent an entire day in court yesterday from 8 in the morning until what was it, 3 or 4? Did we get out around 3?
We got out right around 3 o'clock.
Yeah, an entire day having a jury trial. So, like, 10 people had to show up, you know, they get voir dired, 6 people get seated as jurors. We have to draw. I mean, it's a lot, you know, and, I was found not guilty. I not guilty. Because, I mean, I would love to talk to a juror one of these days. I mean, they're allowed to reach out if they want. I'm not gonna look anybody up or do anything like that. But they're welcome to reach out to me and let me know their thoughts. But I think the reason that they voted not guilty was 2 things. I think number 1, they clearly didn't prove their case. And number 2, I think they were outraged. That's the impression I got from the jury. I think they were absolutely outraged that I mean, they could expect it from the neighbor, right? But when that deputy got up with that disdain and that he was so angry and he has so much just what's the word I'm looking for?
I would
Venom?
call it ick.
Ick?
ICK. Ick. He had that ick.
Yeah, it was like venomous, like,
So
just
I
looking at
actually
me.
I have the movie Venom on in the background, and I don't like you to call it Venom because I love Venom, the movie. That's my side note, my geekiness. And Venom 2, oh, sorry, Venom 3 is about to come out, or it has. Anyway, Venom is not the right word because they are not Venom. Venom is badass. They are way, way foul foul, got it?
Yeah,
Ducks
yeah.
geese, but fouler than Venom. Venom is badass. So, okay, side
I
note,
see
I'm
what you're
leading.
saying. Like, don't give them the benefit of having venom.
They don't have the badassery of being called Venom.
No. I can think of, other things that but we'll just leave that to the imagination. Here's a comment. I would have been so angry that I took off of work to sit on a jury about ducks, geese, because your neighbor called the police and even the police couldn't just come ask you. Unreal, right?
It is unreal. It's
It's
freaking comical. Like I said, mockery of the justice system. That was so absolutely ridiculous yesterday. So much education, so much fun. Court's not supposed to be fun, guys. But the facial expressions on the people, if you like people watching like I do, the
I
facial
mean, it was like
expressions
real
of the
it was
jury.
like it was drama in real time, Courtney. Like, they write shows about this stuff for a
Real
reason. Like,
life
who
Judge
doesn't like
Judy.
Law& and Order?
Real life Judge Judy, real life Law and Order, real life all of that,
But it wasn't
all at
even small
once.
claims. This was like a civil forfeiture, which actually is dealt with by the criminal department because it's a ticket. Process that for a little bit.
As a non lawyer, you won.
True.
Defending yourself, period. You're badass.
Yeah.
I know this is a
And I
YouTube
didn't get
channel,
triggered
and
this time. I didn't have any meltdowns because I've admitted to my audience I struggle. This has not been an easy journey on mental health. This has been a very, I'll say that it's made me stronger. I'll say that I've learned a lot, and I'd say that it has increased my passion to wanna help others who are going through similar things. And I think the scariest thing that I've been taught throughout this whole experience is that this is happening everywhere. I basically just disrupted the system that's supposed to work because it does work. People don't wanna subject themselves to this kind of barbaric behavior. This is like these are the governments that our ancestors left their countries
Dana,
for to start over because of. This is how their old governments acted. What, Courtney?
why do you think that all those other people that these people got to get tickets against you or the citation, they will not refuse to show up to court, therefore those all get dismissed?
Right,
It's only people that are willing to go to court are the ones like yesterday,
right.
the three neighbors, the one
No,
that
they're
sat
the
behind
same
me.
people, Courtney. There's only like 3 that call ever.
Oh, well
Yeah,
then
they're
those
all
are
the
the
same.
three. Well
It's
then we
just
can
some
Well, then every time we go to a jury trial, it's gonna be the same 3 people, and we just it's going to be the same thing because have they ever, ever investigated with the other neighbors? Have they ever asked you, "Are these your animals?" Have they always assumed, "Well, they're her animals, period." All these animals venture on all these properties. Nobody has microchips in goats, in pigs, in ducks, in chickens, in geese, in turkeys, in deer. Nobody microchips wild fucking animals. So how can you ever prove who owns them?
well,
Especially
and it
when
goes
there's
further than that. It goes
it
further
does.
than that when I have evidence of them tampering with my fences, cutting my horse fences after they've lost in court over boundary
Dude,
dispute.
they could be totally planting animals on your property that are like, "Oh, this
I
is my new home."
I
And then
know.
And then
And
because you
knowing
were
me, I
such
would be
a
like, "Aw,
loving,
you're so
caring
cute.
person, you're gonna be like,
I'll just
"Oh,
feed you."
I don't mind if you eat my animals food. Oh, are you gonna abuse my animals? Oh,
I
okay,
wonder if
you're a
that's what they do. Do you think they've done that before? Do you think they're the ones that sometimes will drop off chickens?
well, these duckies keep going between the 2 of your properties.
Well,
Where
no,
did they come from?
I know.
Who knows?
I
Could they
know.
have originated there and maybe that's why they keep coming back? But they love your property no matter how much they talk about the duck and the dust and the dirt. They know that we love animals, so they love coming by us. Nobody knows who owns these animals because they're fucking wild.
I
Free
even
range.
asked the new neighbors across the street, guys, it's so cool. We have monks that moved in across the street, and I just love every second of it. But I even talked to them about it. "Oh, we love the wildlife." That's what they told us. Because you'll see these things sitting over there, and, they're white ducks, so they kinda look like they could be Pekin, you know, which is I'm geeky with my fowl. But yeah, I mean, and then
I
the
would
neighbor
class.
admits that he sees, because I'm just like, "How do you know they're not neighborhood ducks?" Like, he's like, "Well, sometimes they just sit all day and they nest, and then and then, yeah, when he admitted that if he chases them south, they go hang out at their house for then how do you know where they live? We're in Richfield, the country way of life. And then I'm like, yeah, we call them the domestic violators because we actually have problems with them with our hens, with our female ducks. I mean, they're pretty, but they're kind of annoying. And they just live everywhere. I don't know. Am I supposed to do they want me to like kill the ducks? Do they want me to like trap the ducks? I mean, do they want me to I don't know what they want from me, really.
Well, they don't exactly have names other than the domestic violence ducks because that's what we've called them for months. I don't know. But either
Well,
way,
even the ducks
if
that I
you
do
if you
that are
try
ours, the purebred khaki Campbells, we only have one of those named.
I'm just saying, if you go anywhere near these wanderers, the gypsies or the whatever you want to call them, they don't let you come near them. You
No,
can't
no,
capture them, you can't fence them, you can't pen them. They are not yours.
no.
They're not yours. They are theirs. They are their
I
own little
legitimately don't
ducks.
even know where they sleep. I really don't. Oh, here's another comment. The Humane Society will neuter cats and release them. When is it considered animal at large versus wild animals? That's true. That's an interesting thing because that is one of the complaints that the sheriff's department hasn't written me tickets over, but that Doug Petrozzati's brings up because apparently every wild cat in Richfield, and when I say wild, I just mean indoor, outdoor, or just outdoor cat that comes on the property, somehow becomes my cat. I'm like, I mean, literally, if it's an animal, it's mine. Courtney, tell the story about the Nextdoor app the other day. I told it once before in an episode, but this is a perfect time to tell that story about the goose on the loose.
Yeah, and it was a really cool looking goose. It was really beautiful. And there was a person,
You cut out. I think we lost
I
her.
think it's like
Oh, there you are.
west, a mile west, half mile, mile north, whatever. So quite a ways away, and I'm like scrolling on my phone. Dana's inside, just kind of getting things opened up at the scenic pit, and I see this awesome picture of this goose. This lady had on her front stoop, and she was like reaching out. She's like, "I think it's a domestic goose." I'm just reaching out because if somebody owns it and it's so nice, I'm talking to it. I'm feeding it out of my hand. It's very nice. It comes up to me. And I'm laughing in my head, thinking, oh my God, next thing you know, they're gonna think it's one of Dana's geese, but Dana don't own any geese.
Oh,
And
this gets
then
better, guys. This gets better.
Dana's inside and this lady just pulls up in a minivan and she's like, oh, I got this goose on the loose and I just wanted to know if
Goose
it
on the loose. Can
belongs
we write a new song? Goose
if it
on the
if
loose. Your goose is very
It
loose.
belonged here. And I was like, "Oh my god, I saw it on the app. No. I'm sorry, Dana's inside. I can get her if you need." "No, it's okay." I was like, Dana doesn't have any geese, and honestly, I just saw it on the app, and it is such a beautiful goose. It's got, like, all these different colors. It's not like a goose, like a wild goose like you see flying in the sky in the V. No, it is like a
It was, like, gray. It was like a
artist
gray goose.
no, it had, like, an orange head. Oh, it was so beautiful. It's not like the typical wild goose that you see.
I
Um,
just realized something
so
we need to do
she
right now.
yeah. So, yes, it was not Dana's goose, and then Dana did offer the goose, and then somebody else on the neighborhood website or neighborhood app was like, "You can't just take people's animals, it has
Oh,
to
I
go
wouldn't
here."
give her that tone of voice. She seems friendly to me most of the time,
Oh,
so I would just say she was just trying to offer some friendly
okay.
reminders.
Well, so Dana Dana takes animals from people that can't have them. And so
If
when
I
I
can.
first if you can, when I very first saw it, I thought it was aggressive, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, she was just saying that she will take animals from anybody that can have them because yes, she's got a large property and we love all animals.
Yeah, and they're very therapeutic. A lot of, people
The
love 'em.
wild turkeys and the
Uh,
wild deer and the
when is
wild
I can't even
anything.
find yesterday's. Is this the one?
I feel like we're doing an extra long Midwest goodbye to your viewers.
No, this is how live views go, live shows. I'm just trying to find last year or the case from yesterday. Like, it's not showing up on my CCAP all of a sudden. When was this filed? Did they
The
file this? Like, when did they file this?
Is it not filed yet? It only just happened yesterday. It
They
was from
filed this
September
November 27th? They filed this on November 27th, and
of
the
what
date
year?
of the offense is, like, September. Why did they wait so long? Oh my god, what
Sep
happened in November, guys? I don't so this is what you also have to learn when you're dealing with corruption. You have to kind of look at, like, dates and what was happening when something else happens, right? Because a lot of times it's retaliatory, so they'll do something in response to something else. So I don't wanna jump the gun and say something else did happen, but one of the first things I think of is, like, what was happening in November? If this happened in September, why of last year, why are they just filing it in November of '23? That's really strange to me. Is it just me? Do you guys find that weird?
I find it weird, continue to do research.
So here, I'll show you. Okay. Everyone see that okay? So, look, if you go all the way down, November 27th, case initiated, not guilty, asked for a jury trial. It was set for February 6th, 2024. No agreement reached. Defendant raises jurisdictional issue. The court sets briefing schedule. Oh, this was the case with I was wrong about that. I thought I couldn't. Well, now I can't appeal because I won the jury trial. I really want this issue about jurisdiction, about whether or not they can even issue these tickets. I really want that to go to the Court of Appeals because I don't agree with the court's decision on that. But whatever, I won the case. So I guess we're just going to have to do it again in another case. Um, Defendant's brief requesting dismissal of both those cases due to lack of jurisdiction pursuant to Chapter 289 as interpreted by Scenic Pit LLC versus Village of Richfield. Okay, so look how long this went on, guys. Look at all this time. Look at this. Okay, so here's the notes on CCAP. Defendant Dana Lee Zulik in court, prosecuting attorney Daniel J. Gabler in court for Washington County. And look at those are all of the motions in limine. Look at that. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. There was so many. And I'm having to read each of these, like, having to process with my brain. I was just honest with the court. I said, "Your Honor, I don't if I didn't know what one of them meant, I just said, I don't know what this means." Um, but yeah,
She was absolutely amazing, and she broke it down into layman's terms for a person that is not a educated legal attorney that has been through the bar books could understand in a way that you could because you're an educated person. It wasn't
right.
like it was third grade education level. She
Right.
broke it down into a collegiate level that a normal person could understand. I mean, I have my business degrees, I could understand. You
Right.
were able to understand with your communications, business, education stuff
And legal
degree.
geekiness.
Yeah. And she was absolutely freaking amazing. I just love her.
Yeah, we definitely had a rough start, but it seems that, I did gain a lot of respect. I tried to take myself out of the groupthink process. I'm still not happy with her over that decision, though, you know, on the, jurisdictional issue because truly, I mean, the whole purpose from the Court of Appeals was to prevent local neighborly battles. They've removed the ability for local governments to regulate sites like mine, and I get the argument, right? Well, that doesn't mean your animals can run all over the village. Well, what it does mean, though, is that perhaps the village, through the sheriff's department, should not be the one enforcing the ordinance, right? Perhaps since there is an enforcement mechanism through the DNR, they should be the ones to enforce it. And that's all the point I was making. Um, but I guess it went to trial and we prevailed. um, I don't know. Yeah, it was an interesting day. It was a lot to process. I'm still breaking it down. I'm still digesting it. Just kind of trying to process everything and keep a level head about it. I do have to be honest though. I got a little nervous at the end of the day. I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to celebrate. And you can ask Courtney. I got nervous. Um, because well both
And what
Courtney and I.
here, it wasn't Dana got nervous. We walked out of the courtroom after, and she would not go down the stairs when the other people were going down the stairs.
No, I
And
kept some
then
distance.
we were supposed to be like quietly, humbly celebrating the win, but instead, Dana got scared to death. They're gonna burn her fucking house down.
Yeah, that is what I said. Yeah. Because they seem to up the ante. I mean, think of it from my
They
perspective,
told
right?
you in court that they up
That
the
they
ante
target me,
every. They
right?
told you under oath, they have tried any and everything. So this is the third court case they have lost against you.
Right.
And so now they can't do
Mm.
animals at large because they didn't know how to do it. Oh, now I know what I'm supposed to do. Whatever. So now that didn't work. So what are you going to do next? So
Right.
now that's why Dana is scared to death. She thinks they're going to try to burn her house down. They think that she thinks this, she thinks that. She's scared to death. She should be celebrating the fact that after all of this shit, she won. But no, instead, she's scared to death that they're going to burn her house down. You want to know what? Dana, last night, I even sent you pictures. I slept with loaded guns next to my bed because I own them. I'm a combat veteran as well. I enjoy guns. I love guns and I love shooting them. And I was actually kind of nervous last night after winning because of how scared you were. It resonated inside of me because of my own, PTSD,
And the
being a
thing
combat
is, it
veteran.
isn't a fear, it
But
isn't the kind of
thank
fear that
God I was able to put them away back in the case. They are loaded. Somebody come fuck with me. I dare you. Don't. I don't dare you because I'm not good at not jumping the gun. I do have knives as well. Fuck with me or don't.
I
I'm
love
ending
your
this.
honesty. I love your honesty and your, oh, you know what? I don't think anyone can hear you right now. Oh my gosh, all
That's
that stuff you just said, I don't
Oh,
think they
thank
heard
God.
you.
I hope not. Only because I was so honest. I was so honest, and it's actually my own fear. Like, I actually have my own fears
I
about
have no
everything from
idea where it
yesterday.
cut off. Maybe if somebody in the chat can let us know where we cut off, but,
Am I live
basically,
now?
yeah, we can hear you now,
Okay.
but here's the thing,
So what we
Courtney.
were talking about was the fact that yesterday Dana was supposed to be celebrating the fact that she won, but she walked out of that courtroom scared to death. They were gonna burn her house down.
Now,
Then
I would like to
later,
say real quick, you say "scared to death." I don't really like that term, it doesn't feel right to me, but yeah, a
okay,
healthy amount of fear. Like, like, did you ever have to go on convoys in Iraq? Well, yeah, because you flew a lot of places
yeah,
too.
I
Whenever you have to leave the base and go out into the theater, you kind of like it's like a healthy amount of fear, right?
if you're not
And
scared, then you're stupid.
right, and that's kind of how I felt, like, I wasn't anticipating if I won having this feeling because all of a sudden I felt very vulnerable, I felt very exposed, like, "Oh, no. If
Now
history
what's
repeats
gonna
itself,
happen?
now what are they gonna try?" This man just admitted that they have tried everything and anything to ruin my business, to run me out of town, and now he just lost in court and made a fool of himself. I
What
mean,
are they gonna do
he
next?
looked like a fool.
What are they gonna do next?
I know, but
So
that's
yes,
fine.
I was fearful yesterday.
You know what my wish is? That they just knock it off.
Well,
Jim
don't we
Healy should
all?
probably find a job somewhere else. He can go be somebody somewhere else, hopefully not in government roles where people's civil liberties and
Well,
constitutional rights are affected. Maybe he could be like a consultant for somebody
stop while
somewhere.
you're ahead. Stop while you're ahead.
And the board needs to change. We need new board members and we need more people in our local governments everywhere to get more active, to run for office, to participate in your local government.
Not just active and participate, but acclimated
Oh, Heidi
to
said it didn't cut out, so that means they did hear you, but that's okay. She was just being honest.
oh, well, yeah, that's just me. But not just like understand acclimated, truly acclimated to the environment of your local government.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, the area I live in, and I've been doing a little bit of research, I don't see a lot of the corruption. Now, granted, I do not own my own business. I am
And
there
you
with
just
you.
moved there about a year ago. I know there was some
Exactly.
drama in Lannon for a while.
Yeah, but I'm not in Lannon. So it is what it is. We're not going to talk about where I'm at. We're just going to say, thank God I don't deal with what y'all deal with.
Fair. I'm still trying to decide if I'm gonna run for trustee. I'll make an official announcement if I when I do decide. I mean, I already know their playbook, right? They're just gonna look at her on CCAP, she's a criminal. I'm like, well, I don't know. Trump won and he's a criminal now. So we have so much in common. We're blonde, we talk a lot. Anyways, I just wanted to share with you guys what happened yesterday. We just kept it very casual, nothing, we didn't do any deep dives into anything. But as soon as we get the transcript, maybe what we'll do is read the transcript. Maybe we can have a guy come on and, you know,
That
do the
will
role of the
be
witnesses.
no, that will be freaking hilarious.
Be like an epic
Oh my gosh, we need to get a
Brandon.
Donald Duck,
Oh,
Donald Duck voice. We need that.
my Uncle Tom
And
taught me how to do that.
okay, cool. So we need Donald Duck because there's so many duck references, and then a goose. Are there any famous geese that we can get a goose voice? I mean, there's got to be some
Uh,
childhood books. Oh,
Mother
Mother
Goose,
Goose. Oh my gosh. We need to get some of these
the
on
Mother
there.
Goose,
Yeah.
the Mother Goose.
We got to get some of those because that'll just make it so much more entertaining for everybody. What we did yesterday, I mean, that was educational and entertaining and exhausting, but I loved it.
Before we go, can we just play that one clip of it's my favorite clip. I just have to
Please
play it.
do.
No, it's not even the chicken song. This one is the Open Records Jim Healy one. Okay, let me see.
I'm finished filling those.
Thanks.
Do you have my records?
No.
Are you planning on getting them to me today?
I'm sorry?
Are you planning on giving them to me today?
As soon as practical without delay. Thank you.
Which is what? I was still talking. You always just walk away when your customers are talking? He left. I'll take that as a no. Well, I'll be.
Sorry, I can't get enough of that video.
Can you end it with a super happy, fun chicken dance video from yesterday, please?
Yeah,
Pretty please.
absolutely. I'm on it right now. Chicken. Okay, and then after this entire song plays, because I'm going to torture the viewers, um, we'll just do the outro and be done. Okay, ready? Wait for it. Wait for it. What is happening in the world? It like doesn't know what it wants to. Oh, oh. less than 20 seconds or about 20 seconds left. Oh, so we're good. Thank you for joining me tonight on Local Wars. And remember, I love each and every single one of you, whether you believe me or not. Bye,
Love
guys.
y'all.
Bye, Courtney.
Bye. Love y'all.